Okay, you should have three items when you walked in the room today. Here's the first one. We're going to do this together. Okay, you had an assignment on this on Monday. I just want to cover it again. It says write an equation of the given line right there. So again, an equation has an equals. It has a y. It's going to have a y all by itself. Okay. Then over here we have an x and then something in front of it, and then plus something else. And again, this is called my slope. That's known as M, as the board says, and this is called your B. Okay, now M and B. Okay, so remember what the M means. M is the slope, and B is the y-intercept. Okay, so let's do our B first. So B, where does the line cross? It crosses right there. I can stop there. And then from the middle, I make a point, and then from the middle, that's down 2. Okay, so negative 2, because it's down. So that's your B. Now, I need to find another point, but I don't want any points on that side, okay? Only on this side. So I find somewhere where it crosses right on the line. Now, I could go there, doesn't really matter. I'll pick here, okay? Okay, so on my M, I go up. I would have to go up to get to this, and I count the squares as I'm going up. So 1, 2, 3. So plus 3, that's your top. Then forward 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, plus 3, forward 3, 3, 3. Now the multiplication chart's not going to do us a lot of good, so what we're going to do then is divide this by 3, because that's the same number. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, 3 divided by 3 is 1, so that'd be 1 over 1. Now remember what I told you, if you have a 1 on the bottom, you can get rid of it, okay? So it's y equals 1x plus negative 2. Okay, my next one, y equals blank x plus blank. And this is called my M, this is my B. So remember again what M and B stand for. M is the slope, and B is the y-intercept. You don't have to write that if you don't want to. Okay, so the B, where does it cross the y-axis? Okay, it would cross the y-axis right there. Now from the middle, how many squares is that? Well, it's positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4. So positive 4 is my B, okay? Then my M. So again, I need to find another point. I have to figure out what my slope is. So I put my calculator over that. Don't want to look over there, because we always want to move forward, okay? So find somewhere where it hits the grid. Like right there is not a good spot. It doesn't hit the grid dead on, okay? How about here? Okay. Now I make my triangle, okay? Here, I'll get a marker here so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about with that. Yellow's good enough, okay? All right, so from that point, I always start here, and how many square, I have to go up or down first? I'd have to go down, so I put a negative sign there. Now how many down? That was 5, so 5 squares down, and then 3 across, okay? So there's your slope. Okay, now multiplication chart, you don't really have to get yours out because you're not really doing an assignment, but you look up 5 and 3 and see if you can reduce it by dividing, okay? So 5 and 3, the only place I see those together is in the first row, so we divide by 1, and that would stay negative 5 over 3. Okay. Now, that's your answer. You can't get rid of anything because there's no 1 on the bottom. And there's your equation. Okay, it's like yesterday you were graphing the line. Today you've taken the line, you're getting the equation that would match. Okay, next one, y equals, and then, okay, so M and B. Okay, remember what these mean. M is the slope and B is the y-intercept. Even says so on the board. Okay, so the y-intercept, okay, so here's my y-axis. Where does it cross? It crosses right there, okay? So that's up 1 from the middle, so it's 1, okay? Now again, I always want to go this way when configuring my slope. Right there's a good point. It hits right on the grid, okay? I could also maybe, I don't know, that's as good as any, I would say. Okay, remember your slope is a fraction. So I start at the y-intercept point, okay, the B point. And then I have to go up. So up means this will be positive up here, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So positive 5, and then I would have to go 2 across, okay? So it'd be 2. Okay, so 5 over 2, okay? So if I'm looking at 5, I'm looking at 2. They're just in the first row. So 5 and 2, that'd be 1. So it's going to be 5 over 2. Okay, I just keep it the same because when you divide something by 1, it just stays the same. All right, then my last one. In equals, we need y by itself and then something with x plus something else. Okay, the M, okay, so the B, remember what these mean? M's a slope, B is our y-intercept. Okay, so here's the y, so from the middle I'm up 1, 2, 3, here's where it crosses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 6 is our B. And I find another point where it's maybe going into the grid. Right there looks good, okay? Right there. You could go here, you could go here. It doesn't really matter because you're going to reduce it anyway. So I would have to go down to get from here to here. So it would be a negative because you always want to start here. And how many would you have to go down? 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 4 is your run. Then across 2. Okay, so 4 and 2, because we want to divide those. That is in the second row, so we would reduce it by 2. So it's going to be negative 2. That divided by that's negative 2, and that divided by that's 1. So that'd be negative 2 over 1, but I'm allowed to cross out the 1 if it's on the bottom. So y is equal to negative 2x plus 6. Okay, put that to the side, and now I'll get into what your assignment. So your first assignment is just more practice on what you did yesterday, okay? Your assignment is the last, starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? There's 6 of them. You will not have to make any calculations here. Okay, so the y is by itself. If the y is by itself, I put an m on the number in front of the x and a b on the other. Okay, so slope and y-intercept. Now the slope is what's the m, okay? It says up on the board the m's your slope, negative 5. But you need that to be a fraction, so if that's not a fraction, you put a 1 underneath it. Then your y-intercept is the 2, the plus 2. So if you remember, here's my y. I need to go up 2 from the middle. 1, 2. Okay? There's your first point. Now to get the second point, we know we go across to the right all the time with that. And this is a negative, so I would go down. So from that point, I go down 5, right 1. Okay? And that's good enough. Just 2 points. And the line gives me the rest of my points, okay? That's what the line is made for. Put arrows on both ends, and there's your line, okay? Next one, the y is by itself, so you got your m and your b. mx and then b. Slope, y-intercept. Now the slope would be 1/3, which is a fraction, that's good. And the y-intercept would be minus 5, negative 5. So on the y, minus 5 from the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's your first point. And then I'm always going to the right with that, and I would move up 1. Okay? So you would go up 1 from this point, up 1, forward 3. Up 1, or you can do it again, but I just go with 2. 2 is good enough. Okay? There was another class where I made them make like as many as they could, but 2 is good enough for you guys. Okay? Okay, example 3. The y is by itself. You got your m there. Now we need a b, so I put a plus 0, and that's my b. Okay? So slope, y-intercept. So the slope is my m. It'd be negative 4. Now we want that to be a fraction, so I put a 1 under it. And the y-intercept's the 0. Okay? So if the y-intercept's 0, that means this equation, the line crosses the y-axis right there. Okay, then I know I'm going across, but while I'm doing that, I have to go down 4. So down, across. Okay, and that's good enough. Really, once you get the hang of it, it goes pretty quickly. It's the same method of graphing it, because that line is all the points that would match that equation. I just need to make 2 points. Okay. This line is filled with points, okay? I mean, there's a point there. There's a point here, okay? It's filled with different possibilities. I just need 2 to make the line. Okay, example 4, y is equal to 2x plus 1, okay? So m, b, so slope, y-end. Okay, so remember my slope is 2. I would want to make that into a fraction by putting 1 under it, and then the b plus 1. So here's my y, so I start in the middle, and plus 1 means I go up 1. And from that point, we go across, but we go up 2. So I go up 2, across 1. And you could keep on doing that to get a bunch more points, but that 2 is good enough. Okay, example 5, okay? So m and b, because the y is by itself, then you're going to know the mx and then the b. So slope, y-intercept. So the slope is 1 over 2. That's good. I like fractions for my slope. Y-intercept minus 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's your minus 6. And from that point, I'm going to go forward 2, but then I have to go up 1 while I'm doing that. So I go up 1, forward 2. You could keep doing it, but the line, once I make the line through it, it pretty much gives me the rest of the points. Remember, put arrows on both ends because the line goes on continuously. Okay, next one. I forgot the y equals. I forgot that. Okay, y equals. Okay, so put it over here. I guess the wall. You got m and b. So slope, y-end. So the y-end plus 2. And your slope is negative 1 over 4. Okay, so the plus 2, we go up 2. And then from there, I go across 4, down 1. Okay, so down 1, across 4, and there's your second point. Okay, example 7. Okay. So you got your m. Oh, where's a b? Well, if we put a plus 0, then we'd have a b. Okay. So slope, y-end. Okay, so the slope would be negative 5, and I like that to be a fraction, so I can make a 1 under it, and then 0 is a y-intercept. So I go down 5 and across 1. Cross meaning this way. Okay, and then the last one. This one's going to be a steep one, okay? Because 8's a pretty big slope, okay? By the way, the greater that value m is, the more extreme, the steeper the line is. Now, the less the m is, then it's more kind of even, it's more level. But, so the slope would be 8, put the 1, and then minus 5. Okay. Okay, so up 8, forward 1. Okay, there you go. You can work on 1 through 6. Now, when you're done with that, resume the video. Okay. Okay, now this next little sheet seems very pointless, but if we do it today, and you got 4 on the back, then it will not be as just a train wreck tomorrow. What we have here is an equation, just an equation. It seems very random, okay? It says y equals mx plus b. They all say that. By the way, put a multiplication sign between the m and the mx. What you need to do is find what letter b would be, like what actual number. You're like, well, how do I do that? Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put the 4 in for y, so just delete your y, put a 4. Now come over here, delete your x, and put a negative 3. Now the slope is your m, okay? So the m equals 6. So put a 6 in front of that. And that's what you do. The b stays. That's what you don't know. Now line up your equals, and you have a 4 on that side, but on the other side we need to take 6 times negative 3. Negative 18, okay? But don't stop there. After that's done, you have to write plus b. Now, b is the letter you're solving for, so make the wall, put a 1 in front, dot circle, and you got to get rid of that negative 18. So I put 18, 18, we have a negative, so I would add it. 4 plus 18 is 22, and on the other side we got 1 dot b, okay? Now you can divide by 1, and 22 divided by 1 is 22. So you can just put a 22 there, and that's your b. Okay, this seems very pointless and random, but it is for something tomorrow. Okay, next one. So let's put a 2 in for the y, and let's put 6 in for x. Okay, remember this means times right there. That's the operator, okay? And this slope is my m, okay? So negative 3, put a times sign there. Negative 3 times 6, and then we have to figure out the b for ourselves. So line up your equals, you have 2. On the other side, I take negative 3 times 6, I got negative 18 again, okay? Now, don't stop there, you still have to add b, put plus b. So, the wall would come over here, 1 dot circle, you got the negative 18, so you would put 18 and 18. Look up, you see negative, so we need to plus it. Okay, 2 plus 18 is 20, and I've got 1 dot b. Now divide by 1. And 20 divided by 1 equals b, so 20 divided by 1 is 20, so b equals 20. Okay, next one. So y, I have a number that's in for that. That'd be negative 7. X, okay. By the way, put a times that. That's negative 3. Okay, you're putting that where y is at, that's where x is at. Now this slope is my m. That's what a slope is. Look on the board, m is your slope. So when they say the slope, that number goes in for the m, okay? So -7 equals 2 times -3 plus b. Well, I'll line up my equals. We just have a -7 there. And I multiply 2 times -3. That's -6, okay? Whoops, 2 times -3, yep, -6. Then plus the b. Wall goes up at that point, 1 dot b. Circle. Get your -6 out of there. If it's a negative, we need to add it. -7 plus 6 is -1. Now over here you still got the 1 dot b. You divide by 1, okay? So -1 divided by 1 equals b. So -1 divided by 1 would just be -1. Okay, my next one, by the way, this is x, this is y. Okay, let's see if I did that. Oh, flip over to the other side of the paper. This is x, this is y. 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 Okay, so start that. Okay. So the y is 3, okay? And meantime, the x would be -4. Just put it right above it. Now that means m times x. So remember that, m times x. So this m comes from my slope. So I put -1/2, okay? So I have 3 equals -1/2 times -4 plus b. Now I will solve for b. So line up your equals, you got 3. Now, -1/2 times -1/4. Remember how to do a fraction. You go -1, here's my ABC key. That's 2 times -4. I got 2. 3 equals 2 plus b. Now the wall would go up. I would need to apply a 1, so I see what my multiplying number is. It's a 1. 2 and 2, so that's a positive, so we would want a -2. So 3 minus 2 is 1, 1 dot b, okay? Now you can divide by 1. So 1 divided by 1 equals b. 1 divided by 1 is just 1, okay? So there you have it. Okay, do your best you can on the back 4. Remember, x, y, m, x, y, m, x, y, m, x, y, m. You're putting those in and then solving for the b.